Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is RichardDog34, and in today's video we're going to talk about our new community built tank. It is a Necro tank build, and we're calling this the Lunar Goliath. This is a gear specific fun tank. It's a fun build. It can be run in vet content, it can be run in hard mode content, but it is definitely not a meta build. It is very specific with the type of armor sets that you need to run and the type of equipment that you need to run. The skills are very important because certain things need to proc off itself. So this is again one of those builds that I worked with the community to put together. We ran and collected the gear that we needed, and we ended up putting this together and stress tested together. So again, this is a great fun build. Definitely check it out. We're going to go ahead and talk about the different sets that I'm running on this, the different resists that you get from if you ran trials with this, the different CP points that you're going to put into this, what type of race, what type of food that I'm running on this, and then at the end I'll wrap it up and I'll show you guys my stress test going into Vet Hellraw and show how long it actually sustains itself. It is again a very fun build to run. It's actually one of my favorite right now. I tend to run this right after my Templar tank build, and if you haven't seen, I have that video and I'll put that link up in the page. That way you guys can go check out that video. All right, so the idea behind this build when I was working with the community to put this together was to look at a fun build that was not meta. I have meta tanks and they do vet content, they do the hard mode content, but I wanted to put together a tank that was just fun to run but could do some of that end game content. So I worked with the community to put something together after we were running Maw, and we noticed that Lunar Blessing was there. And we were like, maybe that's a set that we could take a look at and see what we could use for it. With this build, our idea behind it was to try to keep the Goliath up at all times, or as long as possible. So without further ado, let's jump into this. All right, so first up is our resist. Base resist for everything is 33.33. This is without running, and I'm going to go ahead and set it up on the trial dummy. That way you guys can see the resist if you're running in content, primarily if you're running in a trial setting, right? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this right now. And right now we're sitting at 42.33. This is enough to get through just about every content that you need to run in the game. That 42.3 is perfect for getting through the dungeons. Even at 33.33 by yourself is enough. So the food I'm running is the long fin. It's purple food. It does give us a good health bonus, and my boon is Agronaut. Those are right off the bat. Those are the things that you definitely need to run on tanks, and we run at 64 health. This is a health type of build, so definitely look at that. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about the gear that I run on this build. Again, it is a tank build that is dependent on the gear. So the first up is we got Lunar Bastion. Adds 4% health taken. Item number 3, gain minor Aegis at all times, reduce the damage taken from dungeon trials and arena monsters by 5%. Very typical for trial sets. Item number 4 adds 1,206 maximum health. This is where this build shines, and especially with this type of gear. When you activate a synergy, you create a Lunar Blessing underneath you for 8 seconds. This blessing grants a stacking damage shield every 2 seconds that absorbs 2,737 damage per stack for you and your group members within 8 meters. The damage shield lasts for 4 seconds and refreshes every tick. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds and stacks up to 6 times. Again, when we're going to go through this is a very gear specific and skills specific type of build. It is not meant for meta, but it is a great, fun, class to run and a great build to run. So this is actually one of the sets that you need to get. It comes from Ma, so definitely if you're running that, you could just run that on normal to go get the gear out of there. You don't need perfected, or it doesn't even drop perfected actually. You just need to get the gear out of that and then gold it out. Purple, I'm running purple right now, so it's okay, and I was still able to get through Vet Hellrot and some of the other Craglorn trials pretty easy. All right, next up is Blessing of Potentes. Some of my community call this Blessing of Potatoes. It's kind of funny, but again, I ran Lunar Blessing on body, so that's all 5 pieces on body, and this will be your jewelry set, so it's your necklace and your 2 rings. Blessing of Potentes reduces your damage taken from players by 3% and reduces the cost of your ultimate ability by 15%. This is a PvP set, so you can get this from Cyrodiil. Pretty cheap if you run PvP quite a bit. If not, get in a guild and ask some guild mates that run PvP if they can help you out and offset some of that cost. So again, definitely want to run this on your jewelry. Again, this is that type of set where you need to use this to help you build your ultimates. All right, so next up is Perfected Puncturing Remedy. This is an arena set. It comes from VS Dragonstar Arena or VDSA. For the Perfected, you definitely want to run the veteran. So I run this in my weapon slot, so my front and back bar are both running this set. It drops as a pair, so you don't need to run it to get the sword and then try to run to get the shield. It will drop sword and shield as one set. So this adds 3% healing taken when you deal damage with puncturing. You heal for 6,130 health and gain spell and physical resist equal to the amount of healing or overhealing done for 5 seconds. Is again a great set for you to run with a healer, or if you're healing yourself, definitely a great way to run. This is one of those sets that you definitely need on other type of builds. Like I mentioned on my last video with the Templar tank, this is a set that I do run. All right, so next up is our helmet. This is our monster set. This comes out of the new Cauldron, the new one of the new dungeons in the game. So Baron Zadras adds 548 maximum stamina, adds 548 maximum magicka, and adds 603 maximum health. So item number 2, your shoulders or your helm, whatever. Applying the status effect to an enemy, any status effect to an enemy, grants you a stack of Zadras ambition for 10 seconds, up to 3 stacks max. When you gain 3 stacks, the stacks are removed and you gain 4 ultimate. On gaining ultimate, you cannot gain additional stacks of Zadras ambition for 1 second. This again is the reason why we run this is to try to keep up our ultimate for running our Goliath, right? Again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the concept behind this build is to run Goliath up as long as possible. So one of the sets that definitely will help this is getting this from Vet Cauldron. So this is one of the better sets out there for doing that. All right, next up is we're looking at our Undaunted. You definitely want to run these. Typically you have to run these. Is your Undaunted Command and your Undaunted Mantle. These are kind of you need to run if you're trying to do any type of content in the game, especially for dungeons and trials. So Inner Rage is the one that we use. This ignites the fires of hate in an energy, dealing 2,277 magicka and taunting them to attack you for 15. The ranged ally targeting the taunt enemy can activate the radiant synergy, dealing 5,268 magic damage to them over 3 seconds and additional 4585 magic damage to them and other nearby enemies. All right, so when we're looking at this is one of those builds that we're definitely, again, like I mentioned, it's a fun build. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about the ultimate ability. This is Glacial Colossus. Unleash a frostbitten flesh Colossus to pulverize the enemies in the area. The Colossus smashes the ground 3 times over 3 seconds, dealing 5684 frost damage to each smash. The final smash stuns all enemies hit for 4 seconds. Dealing damage applies major vulnerability to any enemy hit for 12 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 10%. Most Necros that I know always run this, so it's kind of one of those must-haves for Necro builds. All right, so next up is our champion points. All right, so first up is what we're going to take a look at is our Staving Death. So inside Staving Death, we got a quick recovery, healing increase your healing taken by 1% per stage. You only want to put 10 points there. Preparation, reduce the damage taken from non-player attacks by 2% per stage, and max that out if you have the champion points to do so. Elemental Aegis, reduce the damage you take from magical attacks by 1% per stage. The effects from this are magic, flame, frost, and shock damage. So it reduces those by 3% currently. All right, so next up is Hardy. Reduce the damage you take from magical martial attacks by 1% per stage. These are the physical. All right, so next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our Tireless Discipline. All right, so grants 260 max stamina per stage. Currently, we maxed that out at 1040. All right, next what is Eldritch Insight. Eldritch Insight grants 260 max magicka per stage. Duelist Rebuff reduces your damage taken by single target attacks by 2% per stage. Right now, I have a 10% damage reduction. Unsellable reduces your damage taken by area of effect attacks by 2% per stage. Max that out. Also, these are all slotted, so Enduring Resolve reduces your damage taken by damage over time by 2%. 10% damage reduction maxed out. Again, these are definitely ones that you want prior to getting the others. Those are all slottable. Bulwark. While you have a shield and frost staff equipped, your spell and physical resistance is increased by 1900. I'm currently trying to max that out. Reinforced. When you begin bracing, you gain a damage shield that absorbs 5,140 damage for 3 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. I'm currently working to get that maxed out as well. All right. So these are how I build my tanks up. All right, so that was for warfare. Let's get into fitness. All right, so first up is going to always start up in your top left. Boundless Vitality grants 28 max health per stage. Right now we're at giving us a 1400. Ironclad grants 34.6 armor per stage, giving us that 1731. Rejuvenation grants 3 health, magicka, and stamina recovery per stage, giving us 150 for each one of those. All right, drop down, and Defiance. Reduce the cost of break free by 110 stamina per stage. Currently at 440 cost reduction. This class is also Imperial, so that also helps too. Expert Evasion. Your next roll dodge is free of cost. After consuming this effect, you cannot gain it again for 30 seconds. Tumbling. Reduce the cost of roll dodge by 120 stamina per stage. I'm sitting at 120 cost reduction. Mystic Tendency. Reduce the duration of elemental status effects applied to you by 5% per stage. And right now I'm sitting at 5%. Hero's Vigor grants 280 max health per stage. Right now I'm sitting at 1,120 max health. Hasty increases your movement speed when sprinting by 2%, and I have it I have it at 2%. That's not really a lot. Tireless Guardian, reduce the cost of block by 20 stamina per stage, 80 block cost reduction. That is huge for a tank, so definitely max that out. Nimbling Protector, increase your movement speed while bracing by 3% per stage, 15% movement speed. Fortification, increase the amount of damage you can block by 2% per stage. Right now I'm at 6% block mitigation. All right, so come over to craft. This is these are some of the ones that I use, and I typically run them on every one of my builds. All right, so Wanderer, reduce the cost of Waste Shrine usage by 10% per stage, 50% cost reduction. Max that out. Steadfast Enchantment, your weapon enchantments decay 20% slower per stage. Right now it's 100%. This is going to change in the new update, so expect that. Break Vault, reduce the fall damage taken by 7% per stage. I currently have 35%. Rationeer adds 10 minutes to the duration of any eaten food or drink per stage, which gives me a 30-minute buff or extension. Liquid efficiency, whenever you use a potion or poison, you have a 10% chance to not consume it. So this is going to be very similar to the enchantments. Steadfast blessings will increase your out of combat movement speed by 4% per stage. Max that out for 20%. Angler's instinct is not run, and neither are those fishing ones. Treasure hunter, increase the quality of items you find in treasure chests. That is huge for us. And then come down to fortune's favor, increase the amount of gold you find in treasure chests and safe box by 10% per stage. 40% increase gold find. All right, so those are the champion points. Those are pretty basic champion points that you want to run on tanks. I typically try to keep those very similar to all my other tank builds, just to show that, you know, you can just change your armor playstyle and you have almost a new build. All right, so let's go ahead and get into showing you exactly how this build looks and how long I can maintain or keep it up running into Vet Hellraw. All right, so here we go. We're running into Vet Hellraw. We're going to run from the bridge all the way to the first door. And as we do this, every mob will go ahead and spawn, and we are grabbing everything all the way to this first door. All right, so the goal of this build is to stay alive as long as possible and to make sure that you are able to stay up. So as you see, that first proc with your Boneyard, and you're able to grab that shield with the Lunar Bastion set, keeping that nice buff tick or shield tick going off. All right, also using the scythe to keep us healthy. The only issue right now is looking, as you can see, stamina is a huge issue, but that's because of the type of debuff that the mobs are tossing on us. So keep using the scythe to keep us up. We're using totem to fear, and we're just trying to stay alive as long as possible. In this one, I was able to keep it up for almost a full 2 minutes. Here we go. We procced off our Bone Goliath, and that's what the name is called for. So this is, again, the Lunar Goliath. So we're using the Lunar Bastion armor set and our Bone Goliath from our Necro. As you can see, it's easier to keep up. The only issue that I'm finding right now is the sustain, but again, that's just the way the mobs are draining quite a bit. Keep going through this. There are so many mobs that you're running into this. As you can see, trying to stay up as long as possible, and actually doing a really good job keeping fear up, running scythe, keep using. This is where I make my mistake, right about here. I cast off my Boneyard. I synergized, but I could not switch over fast enough to run my scythe to give myself that nice heal buff. But again, it is a test build. We were going through testing to see how well it worked. And as you can see, it ran really well. All right, so without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them down in the comment section below. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps out my channel, especially with the algorithm for YouTube. You can also catch me streaming on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday, and Sundays. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I start the stream off at 7:30 Eastern time. And Tuesdays, we run Vet Core. And Thursdays, we just run trials. And Saturday and Sundays, I try to give a mix of different type of content that I'm running. You can find me over at Twitch. twitch.tv/retrodog34. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this video, and if you have any suggestions on this, definitely drop it down in the comment section, and or jump into the Discord, and I'll make sure that link is in down below. Without further ado, you guys have a great day and happy adventuring in Tamriel.